here with Freeman Nomvalo, who is the Chief Executive Officer of SAICA, the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants. Welcome, Freeman.
Welcome. Thank you.
To the South African Institute of Business Accountants and CFO Talks. Okay, Freeman, for people who don't know, is also part of or is heading up the restructuring unit at Eskom for a period of 6 months. Hopefully you'll survive that intact and return to normal life. I imagine that's going to be, we're not necessarily going to talk about that, but I think the perception, what I'd like to bring up with you, the perception of accountants generally speaking in South Africa has taken a knock in the last few years. Could you explain, in your opinion, why you think that is?
Well, I mean, when people experience difficulties as they have with Steinhoff, as it appears with, in the past there was Masterbond and there was LeisureNet and so on. When people experience difficulties, obviously their response is going to be that of dissatisfaction, and so people feel that more could have been done to exercise the stewardship role.
And as head of the chartered accounting profession in South Africa, what steps have you taken to bring some, I suppose, dignity or credibility or honor back to the profession?
Now, first and foremost, one thing that we have to understand is that not every person that commits these misdemeanors is a member of SAICA.
Sure.
Now, to the extent that the misdemeanors have been committed by an accountant who happens to be a member of SAICA, we discipline them.
Explain that process, the disciplining process. How independent is that?
Completely independent. Completely independent. Other than receiving the complaint as a CEO and investigating it, I don't get involved in the disciplinary process. It's external people who have got nothing to do with the profession.
And who's involved in that disciplinary process? Is it lawyers? Is it accountants? Or
it's lawyers. Accountants are brought in to the extent that a technical issue has to be explained.
Okay. Do you share the view that the accounting profession needs to clean up its image in South Africa?
Oh yes. Oh yes. So is corporate South Africa. A lot of the scandals that happen would be initiated by business people. Accountants ought to pick it up and report on it. If you're an auditor, you've got to pick it up. You've got the profession of internal audit in the country that started as a profession in the world in the early 1940s. They also play a role in this area. So all the governance structures that operate within corporates, as it affects the failures, the corporate failures, we've got to make sure that they are all accountable. But our role as a member body of professionals is to deal with our members to the extent that they contribute to those. So everybody's going to be held accountable.
Right. You've taken on a pretty brave post, if you don't mind me saying it. You're going to go into Eskom as the head of restructuring. Quite what that means, I mean, everybody's going to be watching you. You've got a target on your back. I mean, you must have a suicide wish to take on a post like that and expect to come out with your dignity intact. What do you think about that?
Well, I really don't want to talk about that role, but in the context,
why did you take the job?
In the context of nation building and contributing positively to our country, Eskom is very important to this country. And remember, it is SAICA that was asked to assist, and SAICA feels strongly that it has to make a positive contribution to this economy. And to that end, we believe we've got to fail try. The shortest way to make sure that you perish as a people, as a human being, as an individual, is to sit back and do nothing when there are problems around you. So we believe there's something positive that we can contribute to this problem, and we've responded positively to the call that the ministers made.
All right. So the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants has got 46,000 members in South Africa, out of a total population, I think, of about 200,000 accountants. That would include your tax consultants, your bookkeepers, your accountants in practice, and so on and so forth. Is there a role for other accounting bodies like cyber like SIPA, the South African Institute of Professional Accountants, to get involved? There is a feeling that SICA has got a privileged position, a monopoly position in South Africa.
Well, look, that is a misguided view. I know SIPA holds that view. It's a misguided view. For instance, in this instance, SICA did not go to government and say, we want to help you. Because of the work SICA has done in the past, which is positive work for the country, we get a call to say, can you help us on this particular issue? Can you help us with this issue? The most important part of your question is the part that says, is there a role for other professional bodies? Surely there is a role for other professional bodies. But I am not the person that makes the call to invite people. So let me finish the point. Mm-hmm. If all the professional bodies make the positive contribution in a way that convinces somebody out there that they've got something to contribute, I am sure they will be called.
Right.
It is completely unacceptable for any professional body to shoot down another professional body for that professional body being asked to do things.
Right. Right.
And I think that as accountants, all of us, we should be working together.
You think we should work together and have a little bit more dignity in the way that we address each other?
Oh yes. But yes.
Okay, I would go along with that, but there is an important point that has to be brought up here, is that you have your own private act. You have your own private act.
We are not a legislature.
No, but you do enjoy privileges that the other accounting bodies don't have.
We are not legislatures. We don't write legislation. So I don't have any other answer.
I think you. Let's. Who would have been the guiding intelligence behind the drafting of that legislation?
No. The country felt it necessary, and the country made that decision.
The country.
Yes.
Right.
We don't write legislation.
Right.
We don't.
Who would be advising in the writing of that legislation?
We don't write legislation. We're not advisors to any ministry.
Okay. All right.
And we've never been advisors to any ministry.
What about the? Let's change the subject. Point taken. Thank you very much for that. What about the growth document that Tito Mboweni released last week? Have you had a chance to look at it?
Yes,
you know the one that I'm talking about.
I've looked at the document.
What is your feeling about it? Is this a move in the right direction?
Well, to start with, our country is facing economic crisis, and every individual in the country has got within their right to come forward and say, these are the things we need to do to get our country out of the situation that it's facing. Minister Mboweni has made that attempt. There may be defects in other people's view in terms of what the document says, but that's an attempt to say, let's discuss this issue. Let's find solutions to this issue. I think to that extent, it's a positive move. There are questions around process. I'm not a spokesperson for any party, so I'm not going to talk to the processes he may or may have not followed. But the point is, we are facing difficulties as a country. We've got to respond to those difficulties, and he's making an attempt to do so. And I think ours as society is to respond by contributing to that document one way or the other.
Freeman Nomvalo, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Okay.